Welcome to Coach's Corner Show, everybody. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, here on Four Wheel Drive Wednesday nights that we have my good friend Bill Pendock to my left, Blaze Winter below. Hey, guys, what is up?
Hey, how are you? You crazy
Man,
bastard.
everybody, we're going to have a fun show today here on Coach's Corner. Today's theme of the segment is humility and the importance of being humble. Here on Coach's Corner, we try to inspire and educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. That's right. We're going to talk with Billy and them about the importance of being humble. Folks, all coaches, whether it's youth, high school, college, or pro, have an obligation to teach their players how to win with humility and lose with grace. Nobody likes an arrogant person who needs to feed their ego. Let others brag about you. The teams who have humble, teammate-oriented players, they breed unity, not division. Arrogant, egotistical players are too worried about themselves at the others. In other words, they don't put their teammates first. Their priorities are really skewed in a bad direction. Their energy is spent on more yards, points, stats, attention, fame, notoriety, publicity, whatever. There's a myriad of things they should focus on instead of like putting the team first. Putting your teammates first is showing your loyalty to the team. Now, there are some things that a coach can say to his players in practice to communicate this message, okay, of being humble and not getting a big head. For example, when the scout team members have to do the dirty work, being tackling dummies for the starters, I need to tell the whole group, folks, everyone on this team is equally important. Nobody is bigger than the team. Not me, not you, not anybody. And these scout team kids are just as important as a starter. You guys remember that. So I spent over, 2 years, 220 practices, over 500 workouts before I ever got into a game in Alabama. That, my friends, will humble you. I have a few maxims because I love maxims in quotes and sayings. And I want to talk about a few that relate to the subject of humility. Talent is God-given. Be humble. Fame is man-given. Be thankful. Conceit is self-given. Be careful. Vince Lombardi said the ego destroys the humility in a person. Much can be accomplished when you work with a team and don't worry about who gets the credit. Folks, it all goes back to character. Okay, how hard you work at correcting your fault reveals your character. The big ego player, he thinks he knows everything. So he says to himself, why work on things if I'm perfect? That's the trap. When he faces adversity, he thinks so highly of himself or herself that they rationalize, making excuses, and feels it must not be him or her. They start blaming others because they're not as good as them. This is a dead-end street. And as a coach, you want givers, not takers. Now listen to this. The arrogant and egoist doesn't understand what it takes to sacrifice. President Calvin Coolidge observed, quote, no person was ever honored for what he received. Honor is then to reward what he gave. Now think about that. He wasn't honored for what he took, but what he gave. I'll give you an example. Okay, this is someone who was humble about his teammates. His name was Tony Richardson, and you might have played against him. I read an article some years ago, about 10 years ago, in Sports Illustrated. It was a great story about Tony and how he cares about his teammates. Tony was in his 17th year as an NFL fullback. And the article goes on and says he's not especially big, 230, not very fast, elusive, but what he offers, what he always offered his teammates are those things coaches call intangibles. Okay? He runs all out every single drill. He speaks up and says the right things during meetings. He visits teammates who are having a tough time and watches other players to see how he can help. Richardson is quoted as saying, it just means more to me to help someone else achieve glory. There's something about it that feels right to me, unquote. Every one of his teammates will tell you that Richardson's role power beat, crushing blocks. He would talk constantly throughout the games, advising him, pushing him, inspiring him. He always had the right thing to say to get us through, Priest Holmes said. Richardson's quoted saying, I would just say, okay, this is the next play. We're going to take it all the way. They're tired. They're about to break. Let's go one more run. His teammate, Larry Johnson, said, quote, whenever I started to feel frustrated, I would go over to Tony's house. And Tony was never too busy to talk to me. We would just talk about anything. I always felt better about stuff. Tony had empathy and a spirit that allowed him to be a great teammate. Now, that's a great example for kids to learn from and emulate. As a coach, you should share these stories with your players. I believe it's important you teach them how to be humble and respect the other team. Because without the other team, you wouldn't be here. So that wraps it up. Bible verse of the week brought to you by the Seiler Agency. This comes from 1 John chapter 5, verse 15. God sends no one away except those who are full of themselves. God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. Wow. That says a lot.
Amen.
Blaze.
Amen.
Hey, Blaze.
I'm here. You hear me or not?
I can hear you, brother.
Good. Good. I'm
He's
trying to
trying to
find a
find it.
location where I can.
Where the heck are Blaze going?
I'm going to sit and not have to hold this damn phone up and try to have it under my elbow so I can handle it. There,
All right.
pretty. There, good. There, I feel a little better. The lighting's better too.
All right, so guys,
Hey,
let's
this
talk about
subject.
Let's talk about it. Pick a player that was really humble that showed your teammates or somebody like Tony Richardson that was
Well,
one of those players.
I don't mean to be stupid about this answer or appear to be too lovey-dovey, but Billy Pendock was one of those guys. I mean, you had a lot of amazing people on that defensive line with Tim Green and Jamie Kimmel. Somebody had to bring every one of us down to earth. Somebody had to be you're really super aware of everybody else's feelings because it was real easy to get caught up in the excitement and the praise that was coming your way. I mean, again, this sounds like a really perfect answer because he's on the show, but you know he did more for the other three of us than anybody could ask for. And I mean, I was fortunate. I never saw myself as being, crossing that line. I never felt like I was going to become all full with myself, even with my signing bonus and the car I bought and the house I have. I always felt grounded. And people that taught me are people like Billy. And before Billy in high school, my mom put me with Jose St. Victor. Jose St. Victor, if you don't know, was a Syracuse player. I never knew it when I was a kid. He would teach me the word. He would teach me how to lift weights. He would teach me about life. He was a big 6'4" black man, muscle on top of muscle. And my mom, handed me off to him because my father was never around. He was always working. And Jose taught me, and then Billy reinforced it, and Junior Seau reinforced it. And I mean, for the most part, I really never paid attention to the people that were all full of themselves. And as the four-wheel drive, just like in high school, you start to approach your teammates. And Billy, you remember doing this. You approach your teammates with, no, you're not doing that. And when they become too full of themselves, you approach them. No, no, no. You're not doing that. And it started with me in high school. No, man, this is a team sport. This is not about you. And if you don't change your way, I'm going to knock your fucking head off. I'm going to knock your head off. You're not going to do this to us.
Right.
And we stopped it. And we did it in the four-wheel drive.
Yeah. But it sounds like, Blaze, it sounds like you guys policed yourselves. And when you have a team that has no leaders, you've got a bad team. When you've got a team that the coaches are leaders, you have a good team. When you have a team with the players that are leaders, you have a great team. Billy, expand on that.
Yeah, all four of us came from situations where we all stood out in our own worlds in high school. It was I don't know what Blaze's credentials were coming out of high school. I really don't know Jamie's. I think Blaze, did you wrestle in high school too?
Yes.
Okay. All three, Jamie, Blaze, and Timmy, all wrestled, and I think the dual sports stuff back then taught a lot to the kids. It's nowadays it's really a different era with the kids. It's you have to commit to one sport when you're probably 10, 11, 12 years old now. In order to make it into bigger leagues, it's not like it was when we came up. And I think by playing multiple sports, it gave us a lot more insight to how we can handle each other. But when we got to Syracuse, and as this four-wheel drive thing emerged together, it was very imperative that it dawned on me that I've got to keep these other three guys grounded. And it was difficult. It was difficult the first couple of years, and after our senior year, it kind of came together really, really good. And everybody understood their own job, and I think together it made the front what it was today. It was
yeah.
You got four guys that were the number one D line in the country, and went on to play after college. But
all four of you guys play, folks. We're talking about the four-wheel drive. This is a four-wheel drive segment on Coach's Corner with Bill Pendock, Syracuse, great defensive tackle, went on to play in the NFL. Blaze, a great 10, 12-year career in the NFL after being part of the four-wheel drive. Jamie Kimmel, Timmy Green, All-American at Syracuse, a Rhodes Scholar. And Timmy, our teammate, we pray for him as he has ALS right now, as does Kerry Goo, a former teammate of mine in Alabama. And so we're going to talk a little bit more as the weeks go on. There's 7 weeks, I think, left before college football starts. And I want to talk a little bit about Syracuse, but let's continue on with the humility theme for just a few more minutes, and then we'll wrap up with Syracuse spring break. I want to talk about a humble time in your career. I'll give you one. Bill, you got one?
I got a couple. I got it, and it's not. I threw the shot and disc, off the season of football, and I'll tell you a couple big ones. I ended up going to. I won the states in the shot. I ended up going to the Easterns. Won that. I thought I was invincible. I was throwing 65 feet, 60 plus, 66, 67. I ended up going to Dallas, Texas to throw in the World Championship. I met up with a guy named Michael Carter, who went on to play at SMU, then went on to San Francisco 49ers. Now, I was throwing a shot against him. I remember like it was yesterday. My first throw was 60, maybe 64, 65. He gets in the circle, 78 feet.
Oh my God.
I was standing on the sideline, and I felt like I just lost 35 pounds. I just got deflated. Like I'm saying that they must have used a different tape measure.
Wow.
He ends up coming in his third throw and breaking the high school world record through 81 feet.
Wow. Oh my God.
I was there to watch him throw 81 feet, 3 inches. I was second at 67 feet. So
What?
he beat the old high school record by almost 11 and a half feet. Now,
Oh my God.
It was a Bob Beeman long jump for crying out loud.
now I'm right. They called it Beeman-esque because the record was it stands to this day. And I remember walking into that meet like, you know, there's nobody on this planet that can stand in my way, you know. And when he threw 81 feet and he walked around and we got face to face, and he goes, I know you're going to Syracuse, I'm going to SMU, I'll see you in the NFL. And I go, you're goddamn right you will, and we'll settle it there on the field.
Wow.
But he
That's
played
great
defensive line.
story. Wow.
Blaze, you remember
That's
Michael?
amazing.
You remember Michael Carter?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beast.
He played
I had no idea he threw that. I had
81
no idea.
81 feet 3 inches.
That's mind blowing.
And if we get, you know, Paul, if we get back to me, I got one more for you. We'll go ahead with Blaze, or you want to go ahead one out?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell one more. I'm going to tell two. Let Blaze tell a couple. Go ahead.
All right. I and another one outside of football. Now, I don't know if you guys knew, I was arm wrestling a lot at the time. Between 85 and 98, 99. I was going all over the country. And I got to be really, really pretty good on the table arm wrestling. I won the section here. Then I went on to win the Northeast. Then I went on to win the states over here. I ended up going to the Yukon Jack World Championships down in Petaluma, California. Okay. Down there, I met up with a guy named Cleve Dean. Cleve was 6'8", 550 pounds. I get on the table with the guy, and I got big hands. I mean, I got some big hands. I thought I did. And I gripped up with this guy, and I'm standing across from him, and I held him for maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds, and down I went. You know, and at the end of the day, it put me fourth in the world. But the funny part is, everybody says, geez, you were fourth in the world in 1996. And yeah, that was good. But when you talk about between first in the world and fourth in the world, it's like modified compared to the NFL, you know. And when we talk about being humble, I sat in a chair in the corner and thought, what the hell am I doing here? You know, I mean, the only thing I want to do is win. And I ended up fourth place in the world. But, you know, the guys I went against were world champions. But that was.
Yeah, that'll humble you. Yeah, there's always somebody bigger and better and bigger and stronger and meaner than you, man. My father said, you think you're tough, there's always somebody to kick your ass. He used to say.
I never thought about it that way. See, I didn't think there was nobody who was going to stand in my way.
Amazing, man. That's great stuff. That is great stuff.
Hey, Blaze, go ahead and tell a couple, Blaze.
Well, you know what? I really, when you wrote down this subject and I started to think about my journey and you know, have I ever been sort of humble in a moment of arrogance, a moment of, hey, man, this is all about me. And I'm sorry, but I never crossed that line. I never crossed that line. I remember watching players. I remember watching players when Joe Larry brought me into Minnesota with the Vikings to work with the defensive line. I saw players like Chris Hovan thinking that they're better than the world. And I had to confront him in bathroom with, what the hell are you doing? And he looked at me like, what are you talking about, man? Who are you? And I said, man, your arrogance is pathetic. I mean, what is Randy Moss rubbing off on you? And he's like, man, you better shut the fuck up. And I said, Chris, you gotta come down to earth, man. All this stuff can change on a dime. Trust me, it can change on a dime. And you know, we had guys in that team, and O'Leary knew all about it. He was in DC, and we had guys in that team on the Viking team they did need to be humble. Chris was one of those guys having some success, and making a lot of money, and he needed to be told, hey, stop. See, I always believe that it was up to the player more than the coach to say to another player, stop it, man. You're going to ruin your own life. You're going to ruin your career, and you're going to hurt us.
Right.
And I remember watching, another story is I remember that same team, and I remember the locker room, and Randy Moss is just yapping away. You know how good he is. I mean, Baltimore, all this. I saw it right in my eyes up in Minnesota at their headquarters in the locker room. You know, they had a practice on the field earlier, came off the field, and he's yapping away. And I remember, again, this is no BS. I remember Matt Burke, all-pro setter, Matt Burke. I mean, 320 pounds from an Ivy League school. What was it? Harvard or Yale? And he comes over to Randy Moss, and he simply puts his huge hand on his chest and said, "That's enough, man. Shut up."
Wow.
And then, you know, after a few more zaps, he shut up. And the bottom line is that who was patrolling the team? I mean, in the long run, Matt Burke became a Hall of Fame type setter for a reason. You know, he controlled the locker room. I mean, the four-wheel drive control, right, Billy? The locker room.
Yeah, you guys control.
Man, Junior Seau, believe it or not, everyone, hey, you think what you want. He was the most grounded human being, and he controlled the locker room. And the coaches didn't have to say anything, man. It was a handful of players that said, hey, man, no, we don't do this alone. This is not about you. And the sad part is now we flash forward to today. We have moms and dads sitting at tables down here in Florida and telling their son in the ear, put this hat on, put this hat on. No, you don't want to go to Georgia. You want to go to Ohio State. No, you don't want to go to Ohio State. You want to go to Georgia. And there's this selfie image, this selfie society. Oh, I need my selfie. I'm going to the bathroom and take a picture of myself in the mirror.
Right.
I mean, this is where the problem is started, man. It started because someone at home is not telling somebody else, stop it, man.
Right.
Stop this crap, because that's not how you want to get somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you go off, buddy. You tell them, Blaze. That's exactly right, man. Go ahead, Billy.
I think the folks at home should understand. You know, I one of the things that amazed me, you know, when I came into Syracuse, and I'll tell you, Blaze will tell you about this. And I watched Blaze come in there, and I see a guy that is not highly recruited, and the story he has, his journey, is something that just people would be amazed about. I mean, what I seen him walk in the door as a freshman, and when he walked out as a senior, it was just something that the story, and then the story from there on, it speaks for itself. But the work he did those 4 years at Syracuse, you know, and I'm talking about a guy, you know, Blaze, you know, God bless him. The guy, I could listen to him for hours, you know, now, and I get pumped up even at 62, 63 years old now, listening to what he said.
That's why he's a motivational speaker, Billy.
And you know, and Paulie, if we could turn the clock back to college, here's a guy that don't say nothing. I mean, his 3+ years, he's just absorbing everything that's coming through the program. And when he talked about us teaching him this and that, and he would listen. Here's a guy that never went out at night, never did, you know, home every night, working on plays, working on film, working on his schoolwork. And I got to say, you know, I'm not trying to blow Blaze's horn here, and I'm not trying to but
you know, flowers.
As far as motivate, his story is one of one, and I love the guy. I always will. I've always considered him my closest friend coming out of Syracuse, and it's just I can't stress
You both, man.
listening to
I
home.
feel the same way.
Billy,
I feel
we're
the
gonna
same way, and people don't understand, Billy. We have a special bond. I mean, four-wheel drive is not just a name. We feel for our brothers from a distance. We feel for one another constantly. When you went through that knee surgery and another knee surgery, I mean, I was in, I was torn here in Florida. Asked my wife because I was so concerned about you. This is what a bond is supposed to be. This is what football playing is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, hey, I care so much about the person near me. I don't have to necessarily like him, but I have to care for him as a human being because that's what Jose taught me. That's what my mama taught me. That's what I was taught day in and day out. And the last thing is the greatest gift I've ever received to this day was the hole in my face at birth. It was the hole in my face because it made me realize I am nothing without other people. I am nothing without other people. And I'm going to be heading to Vegas in a few days, sharing a platform with Dave Hansen from the movie Slapshot. I'm going to be serious stage with Dave Hansen, one of the guys with the real heavy glasses in the movie Slapshot. And we're going to talk about what's important. And I guarantee Billy Pennant will be brought up again, just like Jose is brought up, and all the other great people that were unselfish about how they went about building other people.
Yeah, building others up. That's right. Being humble to yourself, building others up. I got a couple humbling stories. When I first walk on the fields in Tuscaloosa, those guys just won back-to-back national titles, and the varsity came out to practice, and I went, "Holy shit! What am I doing here?" I have never seen that kind of speed or intensity on a football field in my lifetime. And then fast forward a couple of years later, I'm playing for Coach Bryant in his last year. We traveled to Ole Miss, and we're playing in Jackson, Mississippi. And Coach Bryant used to like to put the whole second string in all at once. And he would do that to shock you. Ole Miss is driving the ball on us. About midfield, Coach Bryant got tired of the 3 first downs. And he sent in, he said, "Everybody out, second string, everybody get in." So I get in, I was playing cornerback, right cornerback. Coach Bryant's at the 50-yard line. My wide receivers lining up right in front of Coach Bryant. So they throw a quick slant. I read the 3-step drop, man. I broke on that ball, broke up the pass. Out come the flag, saying I got there a split second early. I got a flag right in front of Coach Bryant. Coach Bryant, after one play, he said, damn it, everybody out." He took everybody out after one play. That'll humble you, man. That'll humble you with all your players. Oh, my God.
Paulie, talking about that stuff, Blaze, I know you remember this. When we were freshmen, we all went through it. You're coming from the big dog at your high school up to a big pond, and we got humbled just about for 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah,
it was. It'd be 3 hours if I told you all the stories about.
That's true.
Trying to tackle Joe Morris, trying to tackle.
Oh, you're right.
You're right. It was like a whirlwind. You didn't know what day it was or what time it was.
Phil, that is so true, man. I mean, you see these athletes when you go from Billy was 101. He had 100 offers. I mean, the bottom line is you see these athletes for the first time, like Joe Morris, and you're like, what am I doing here? I mean, that is so true, Billy. It's so true, man.
You could talk for about. I remember trying to tackle him. I mean, I tried to run him out of the sideline one time. He ran around me. The second time, he ran me over. I mean, the guys like, 210, 215, but just a different level, just a different.
And then you flash forward to Barry Sanders with the Lions, and you're wondering, what am I doing here? This is like, I mean, who are these people? They must have a S on their chest. They must be. I mean, this what they would do with the ball, what they would do throwing the ball. I mean, when you saw Peyton Manning in practice, I'm like, what is this doing? I mean, on a dime, man. He would drop it on a dime. And I'm like, man, he's pretty good. And, and everybody's around, we're going to be all right with him. I mean, just amazing athletes. Yeah.
Man, humility is just characteristic. I mean, it's getting lost in our society. Blaze, you pointed it out with the kids are all about themselves and the selfies. Billy has seen it. I've been coaching for 20 years. I've seen it about them. So it's our job as coaches to teach kids how to be humble, or at least talk about it. Give them some stories. Give them some examples. Even the great ones have been humbled over the years. Coach O'Leary.
The difficult part of this, though, the most difficult part of this is there's another force, and that force is constantly telling the kid, you're God, you're it, you're everything. Now it might be a little league coach who's coaching a guy that, hey, man, we win every game when we toss him the ball. And that kid gets a feeling of, oh, I'm good. And then someone keeps telling him that over and over and over. And then what? Then he hears it again, possibly in the neighborhood. And then he hears it again later on the way to a college on television or in some other media source. And he said it over and over. You're a 5-star. You're a 5-star. You're a God, man. You it. And the bottom line is that, man, a lot of those dudes disappear at Alabama. They disappear at Syracuse. They dissolve and disappear because, hey, there's somebody out there like Billy Pendot. There's somebody out there like you. There's somebody out there like me that, hey, man, we're there, and it's a lifeline. It's a lifeline for us. And you're not taking the lifeline away. Well, no, this is my life. This is, where's my chair? Where's my makeup man? Hey, man, I'm going to rip your face off. Because you know what? The bottom line is there's no makeup man here. There's no makeup man here. Your worst nightmare is going to be in front of you if you don't change your way. And I just, there's so many great memories of seeing players like Donnell Thompson, humble people, Chris Hinton, humble people. You talk about bringing them to their knees. I mean, and they were humble themselves. And it was what a journey, man. What a journey.
Oh, God. Hey, Billy. Blaze is going. Yeah, Blaze is going in and out. But hey,
I'm having a hard time because I'm on this damn cell phone.
Hey, Blaze. Hey, well, we're gonna get into your relationship and a little bit more about Junior Seau in the later shows. Maybe when our audio is working a little bit better.
Yeah.
But everybody's been humbled. Coaches, even George O'Leary, right, with his resume thing, how he was humbled to, that there was a big article in Sports Illustrated. I think Maryland basketball team won the national championship. They were on the cover. And there's a big article. Remember that, Billy, that Sports Illustrated, 13-page article on George, and it talks about Liverpool High School and Syracuse, what he did with his resume. But, so everybody gets humbled, even the great ones, because Coach had integrity, character, high morals, high principles. And, when that happened to him, it crushed him. So everybody gets humbled. And I want to thank you guys for coming on. Hey, I watched some of the Syracuse spring game. Kyle McCord, man, I think he brought Syracuse down for 3 or 4 scores in a row to start out the game. And,
you look good. You look good.
Yeah, the new offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, Elijah Robinson, of course, is the new DC for A&M, and Coach Brown. I think They got some transfers. The running back, Quentin Allen, after 1,000 yards rushing, he's back for Syracuse this year. But, man, people in Syracuse got high hope.
Well, hey, man, when you talk about the whole picture, the big picture, it's time to get real simple. And real simple is, stop talking about NIL. Stop talking about, how pretty you are. Stop talking about the new uniforms. And start to realize that, man, it's time to back it up. All this recruit status, all this, hey, I'm a 5-star, all this stuff that, hey, we're great, one of the best recruiting teams in the, Fred Brown in the country. All of it goes away real fast when you get put on your ass. All of it goes away real fast. And now it's time to put all that aside and start to dominate the line of scrimmage and dominate what you're doing as a team. And hopefully we see that.
Billy, thanks for coming on, brother. Blaze.
Anytime, Paul.
Appreciate you guys. Let's give a shout out to Timmy Green and Jamie Kimmel, the other four-wheel drive guys. Hopefully we can get them on and get them on soon. Prayers for all of them. Guys, have a great week, and we'll do four-wheel drive next Wednesday again. Oh,
sounds good, Paul.
Yeah, we had a little bit of issues this week. Maybe we'll have that.
All right.
Maybe we'll have it cleaned up next time. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Paulie.
All right, see you, Billy. All right, stay tuned for these messages from my great sponsors. Just finished another edition of Four Wheel Drive. Talk about humility. Teach your players to be humble. It's a lost art. Have a great sports night, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
75 years of service in high-tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High-tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Step One works so hard to get you in the perfect car.
Looking for a better car buying experience? With the Step One Advantage from Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola, receive no-hassle market-based pricing or incentives by pre-ordering. Looking to sell or trade? Our dedicated team will even come to you. Plus, every vehicle sold at Step One supports local charities right in your neighborhood. Experience the Step One Advantage at Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola today.